I'm Scott.
I'm Brian.
We're SchwartzonSportz. Today we're going to talk about an article that Mary Kay Cabot wrote for the Cleveland Plain Dealer about the 5 prospects the Browns should target most and look at the NFL Combine. The 5 are RG3, Justin Blackmon, Trent Richardson, Morris Claiborne, and Ryan Tannehill. What are your thoughts on RG3?
I like RG3 a lot. He's a great player, got great attributes, great leader, but I'm not in love with him. So, no, I would not trade up to the second pick to get him. What do you think?
I like him too, but as you believe, I don't think he's worth the second or fourth pick. But because we're in need of a quarterback, we haven't had a game changer there since probably Kozar, which is pathetic. If he falls to us at 4, I'd definitely take him, but I would not trade up for him.
All right, then we got next Justin Blackmon. I call him Starscream. I think he's the next coming of Megatron, Calvin Johnson. Great skills. After he catches the ball, he's a strong player, hard to bring down, great hands, good route runner. I mean, there's nothing not to like about the guy.
Blackmon at Oklahoma State was phenomenal. I think he was better than Crabtree, easily. I think he's better than Des Bryant.
Yeah.
And, he's got good hands. He has good route running. I think he's a total package. He may be better than A.J. Green. If he's on par with A.J. Green, he's totally worth the 4th overall pick. So if I'm the Browns, I think, you need a receiver. We've had no playmaker since the Browns have really been back on offense. So if he's there, I'd take him. So next up, we got Trent Richardson. And some people tend to think that he's the next AP. I don't see that. I think he'd be a solid, solid running back. But I just don't think he's worth a top 5 pick. I'm sure somebody may take him there, but I think if he drops past the Browns, he does actually go to the top 10 as opposed to the top 5. What do you think of Trent?
I like him. I wouldn't do 4th pick. That's too high. Adrian Peterson comparisons, no way. He's smaller. Yes, he breaks a lot of tackles, but I just don't see. I think he's got a lot of bust potential. There's just a lot of hype around him. I wouldn't gamble that high on a running back. Morris Claiborne, he's our next player. Great size, great speed. I think he runs around like a 4.4 flat. Great cover. Didn't get burnt deep too much, but might be a good pick to pair with Hayden. That'd be an awesome backfield.
Yeah, I mean, Claiborne I think he's in the same class as Hayden. I think he might be actually better than Hayden, at least at this point in his career. But with the offensive woes that we had last year as a team, I just don't think that we have the luxury of drafting a defensive player in the top 5 with our first pick because we have so many holes on offense. Claiborne would be an awesome addition to the team because he'd totally have us. I'm not saying that Hayden's a shutdown corner, but you'd have 2 stud corners on your defense, which would
don't forget about Ward flowing back.
Yeah, I mean, our secondary would be probably one of the best, if not the best in the league if we drafted Claiborne. But
youngest too.
Yeah, they would grow up and mature together. But I just don't see us wasting, and not that it would be wasting, but I wouldn't want to drop a high pick like that on a secondary player at this point. We got so many holes on offense. So going to the last, the 5th player that Mary Kay Cabot said that the Browns should look at the Combine is Ryan Tannehill. He had some really good numbers in college, but again, he's like, to me, that's kind of my knock on RG3. He played in the Big 12 against Big 12 defenses, which anybody that watches college football knows the Big 12 doesn't have that great a defense, if any at all. So, you can put a good quarterback can make Swiss cheese out of a Big 12 defense. So I don't know what to put in Tannehill and RG3. Tannehill's got the size that RG3 doesn't have, and I think he'd be available at the 22nd pick, perhaps, for the Browns if they decide to go otherwise than quarterback at number 4. I wouldn't mind Tannehill at 22, but any higher than that, I wouldn't do it. What do you think?
Mary Kay. What? You're crazy. He's been quarterback 2 years maybe? He was probably a better wide receiver than he was quarterback. He puts up 200-yard games. He's too much of a work in progress to even be thinking about first round.
Somebody will take him in the first round, though.
Someone will because of his size and attributes.
And I think the only reason Mary Kay included him on her top 5 watch list for the Combine for the Browns is because he is a quarterback. And everybody that is a Browns fan knows that we are quarterback starved in this freaking town. I mean, we've gone through quarterbacks like water. I think we're one of the top 5 teams, if not higher, that have gone through so many number of quarterbacks in the last 5 or 10 years. It's ridiculous.
Before I put him on there, where's Quentin Couples, however you want to say his name? Where's Kendall Wright? Where's Michael Floyd?
Yeah, I mean, Mary Kay made this list of prospects the Browns should look at in the combine, not necessarily draft. So her list is only 5 players. I don't get that either.
There should at least be 10 there that you got to talk to. 10.
Yeah.
I don't see any tackles on there. Where's Khalil?
Yeah.
Your top right tackle.
That's the other thing. If you don't go quarterback or somebody takes RG3 and Khalil drops, you take Khalil or Richardson. To me, it's a no-brainer. You take Khalil. It'll shore up your line. You have bookend tackles, Joe Thomas, Ryan Khalil. And especially if you re-sign Peyton, what the hell you need Richardson for at that point? Re-signing Peyton Hillis totally opens everything up in the draft for you. I think you got to re-sign him. And really, who's the kid you like out of Washington as a running back?
Chris Polk, great player, same size as Trent Richardson. Look at his highlights. Great running back, stays on his feet, runs through people, lowers his shoulder. Great player.
You can get him in the 2nd or 3rd round. Unless he blows everybody out the combine, he'll go in the 1st. You take that kid the 2nd pick, dump Montario Hardesty's ass on the fucking street where he belongs. He's garbage. The worst pick in the H&H area yet. I mean, the guy can't run the ball. When he does, he gets stood up like he's nothing. Horrible pick. Cut your losses with him while you can.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Brandon Jackson comes back because he'll probably run Hardesty out.
So. A lot of people forget we signed BJ last year.
Yep.
He's a hell of a 3rd down back, especially in the West Coast offense.
Only 26 years old.
You re-sign him with Peyton, and you have Chris Polk, perhaps somebody of that caliber. Obanaya. He was a hell of a pickup off the Texans practice squad last year. You got those 3 running backs. BJ's a hell of a 3rd down back. Peyton Hillis is a monster when he's healthy.
Don't forget about the receiving corps you don't even know about. You got Carlton Mitchell. They're going to give him a look this year.
I want to see some more of Mitch.
4.4. He's got speed. Just got to work on his route running, and I think he'll be a significant contributor.
You get Greg Little's hands in the right place and his mind along with them, then you'll be all right. That kid could be a freaking stud.
And who knows if they're going to keep Norwood or get someone in free agency, but he's a great slot.
Little Wood's a slot, man. That guy's phenomenal.
Great
hands. Little dude over the middle. If Cole can hit you, you got to be decent, right? I mean, Come on, he's not the best quarterback out there. So, I mean, this is going to be an interesting draft this year. We're both draft junkies, and, we cannot wait for the draft. We get all the draft magazines. As a Browns fan, as you guys know out there, it's hard being a Browns fan. You know you're not going to get the Super Bowl. Hopefully we do in our lifetime. We're still kind of young. So, we've got 50, 60 years yet. But, the Super Bowl is it for us. We get to see, potential, which that's pretty much all we have is the draft at this point. The Shermer, don't get me started on Shermer and the regime, but Shermer did not show me much at all last year. But you look at what they brought in from a coaching staff standpoint. Dick Duran, top-notch defensive coordinator. Yeah, he's older, but he's respected in the league.
Childress, Brad.
You bring Chili in. He did do some fucking, he fucked some shit up with the Vikings with Brett Favre and stuff like that, but he got him a game away from the Super Bowl. I mean, I think he's a respected offensive coordinator. Hopefully when March 13th rolls around, we'll have some free agents that we can get in here.
I just want to talk about maybe a Mario Manningham coming in, or
he played at Michigan, man.
I know, but he can catch the ball. We don't have that.
Braylon Edwards played at Michigan. See what happened to him?
Hey, he caught the ball for a year.
Signed a dude to a long-term contract. He played at Michigan. He's out. You're throwing your money away, man. You can't rely on Michigan guys unless he's Tom Brady and Bill Belichick sucks him off. Then that's about it.
Well, instead of getting a cornerback in the draft, there's, I think, 20 very solid cornerbacks in free agency this year.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking cornerbacks. You got Sheldon Brown, who should have been moved to safety 2 years ago. You move that dude to safety with T.J. Ward. Bring a good starting cornerback in with Hayden. That our defense wasn't bad last year for the first year in a 4-3 under Dick Duran. You get another year under their belt. You're going to franchise DeQuell because they don't want to lose him, which is smart because he's the best defensive player we have right now.
I think they'll get a deal done for him.
I'm hoping.
He's too good of a player.
And, he came back to the Browns on a 1-year deal. Tore both of his pecs the previous 2 years before last year. I mean, the guy was loyal, rewarded.
Yeah, bringing the linebackers up. We got Chris Gokum, we just signed a long deal. He's 27, 26.
He's young.
You got DeQuell. He's going to be in our middle for another 5 years. Then you got Fujita getting older, so we're going to have to get an outside linebacker and maybe another one for backup because we don't have anybody, no depth at linebacker.
That's a problem you have on teams that don't win much or don't win often. It's the depth. The depth's a problem. I mean, I think they're starting to build that out, and Holmgren and Heckert want to do it through the draft, which is good. I mean, I think I saw a stat last year when the Packers won the Super Bowl. I think it was like 60 or 70% of their team was built through the draft. They don't sign many free agents either. It's kind of the Holmgren and Heckert mantra. If you can get away with it and you can build your own guys and sign on long-term deals and you actually hit on the picks in the draft, it's a hell of a strategy. You just got to do it. All right, that's all for our first show. We will get back at you later. Until then, I'm Scott.
I'm Brian.
We're SchwartzonSportz.
OH.
We'll see you next time. IO.